It was never meant to be seen, at least not yet. Jerusalem just before dawn. The air is cold, the city still stirring awake. Along the Temple Mount's perimeter, tourists drift past ancient walls. Then one man halts. He narrows his eyes, raises his phone. At first it looks like nothing more than a weathered patch of stone. But as the sun crests the Mount of Olives, a pattern slowly surfaces. Lines, curves, letters, not random, not erosion, something deliberate. 4 ancient Hebrew characters begin to shimmer into visibility. Yod, He, Vav, He, the sacred tetragrammaton, the name of God, Yahweh. And it appears directly above the Golden Gate. No chiseling, no tools, no trace of human hands, just a name, written where prophecy says the king will one day return. By noon, the footage has spread across the internet. Religious forums ignite. Evangelical channels erupt. Within 36 hours, Israeli authorities quietly seal off the area. No statements, no press briefings. But a leaked satellite scan reveals something even stranger. The stone itself is radiating heat in the exact shape of the letters, not around them, through them. And the gate? Still bricked shut, as it has been for nearly 5 centuries, ever since Sultan Suleiman ordered it sealed to block the Messiah's entry. No one has gone in, no one has come out. But if even a fraction of this is real, then history is unfolding in front of us. So hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and if you believe some truths were never meant to stay hidden, tap like to keep this story alive. Centuries ago, God told Solomon, "I have consecrated this temple by putting my name there forever." Scholars argued for generations. Was that metaphor or a prophecy waiting to unfold? At first, Israeli geologist Dr. Matan Eliav thought little of the strange inscription, until he remembered something buried in old defense archives, a magnetic hot zone detected in 1995, dismissed as noise. That same zone now pulses every morning at 4:13 a.m., the exact moment sunlight first strikes the eastern wall. Ground-penetrating radar soon reveals more. A hidden tunnel, less than a meter wide, runs directly beneath the Golden Gate. It curves upward toward the Mount of Olives. It appears on no blueprint. For centuries, the Eastern Gate, also called the Gate of Mercy, has carried Messianic weight. Ezekiel saw it in vision. Zechariah named the mount before it. Jesus entered through it, riding on a donkey. And now, above this very gate, the name of Yahweh itself is forming. Not in paint, not in chalk, but in erosion lines unlike any other stone. Experts reviewing the footage confirm the letters are not modern script. They are Paleo-Hebrew, the ancient language of David and Moses, long vanished from daily use. Somehow, the oldest tongue of Israel is resurfacing in 2,000-year-old limestone. The story deepens. A Messianic pastor, David Shalev, live streams from the site. When he whispers the name aloud, Yahweh, his audio surges with an almost inaudible frequency spike. Later, analysis confirms it. 528 Hz, the so-called miracle tone, believed by some to influence healing at the level of DNA. In that instant, doves resting on the wall explode into flight. Meanwhile, in the archives of Hebrew University, a forgotten copper scroll is re-examined. Under AI-enhanced scans, faded words emerge. When the name rises from stone, the gate shall no longer hold. The scroll dates back to the 2nd century before Christ. Then, Jerusalem shakes. A brief tremor rattles directly beneath the Temple Mount. No tectonic activity, no damage, but the epicenter is traced precisely to the eastern wall. The next morning, satellite images show the mortar along the Golden Gate's arch beginning to crack. In front of the gate lies an old Muslim cemetery placed there centuries ago to block the Messiah's return. But now, even the graves stir. A marker from 1654 has rotated 22 degrees, pointing toward the wall. A local guide's drone captures something stranger still. Scorch-like shadows appear just beneath the forming inscription, though no fire ever touched the stone. The IDF responds, deploying thermal balloons. At exactly 3:17 a.m., one camera records a thin beam of light, vertical, white and impossibly bright, shooting skyward from the top stone of the gate. It lasts less than a second, then it vanishes. Inside Jerusalem's western wall tunnels, a secret rabbinic council convenes. Phones barred, notes forbidden. One source leaks a single line, spoken by a senior Kabbalist. The gate is trembling. The name is waking. We are unprepared. That same night, across the city, a 94-year-old woman dreams of fire bursting from the eastern wall. She wakes and sketches 4 glowing letters in gold. She has never learned Hebrew, yet the forms are exact. The whispers are becoming a roar. The name is rising. The gate is stirring. And Jerusalem is listening. That same night, deep inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, an alarm sounds, not from the chapel, but from the crypt. A motion sensor, installed decades ago, records what guards later describe as a sudden pressure change. When they arrive, nothing is missing, but one object stands out. The ancient sensor, chained in place since the 1800s, is swinging. No wind, no tremor, no reason, and engraved on its side, barely visible under dust, are 4 letters. Paleo-Hebrew, the very same name of Yahweh now forming on Jerusalem's eastern wall. By sunrise, the Vatican quietly requests the sensor data. 3 days later, a restricted document leaks from the Pontifical Biblical Commission. Stamped Level 4 Access Only. It contains forgotten photographs from 1929, grainy black and white images of the eastern wall. The shapes are faint but undeniable, the same 4 letters. Only then they weren't eroded into the stone. They were inverted, imprinted from within, as if the wall itself was resisting them. Now, they're breaking through. At the Israeli Museum of Antiquities, a shaken curator revisits the copper scroll. Item 27b. It describes a stone of witness facing east whose voice is silence until the end of days. For years, scholars dismissed it as metaphor, but now a disturbing pattern is surfacing. Each time the name appears, nearby birds vanish. No pigeons, no crows, no sound within 200 meters. It's not only the stone speaking, creation itself seems to be listening. Meanwhile, in a Haifa laboratory, a technician analyzes samples from the wall. He finds something no one expected. The limestone around the letters bends light differently by 1.3%. Under ultraviolet, the characters glow with a faint violet hue. When compared to known artifacts, the match is chilling. The mineral alignment is identical to one relic only, a tablet recovered from Mount Sinai in 1954, now locked in a vault beneath Tel Aviv University. No images are allowed. No one outside the archive has ever seen it. As news spreads, pilgrims flood the site. Some kneel, some singing, some weep openly. On the 3rd morning, a boy from South Korea collapses against the wall. His body shows no pulse, no fever, no life. Paramedics prepare to call the time of death, when his mother, desperate, cries out the name Yahweh. The boy gasps, sits upright, and begins to whisper the same 4 letters over and over in Paleo-Hebrew. He has never spoken the language. 2 hours later, Israel's chief rabbinate issues a terse statement. Inconclusive. But behind closed doors, a directive is circulated. No further commentary on gate phenomena shall be issued without Sanhedrin consultation. The Sanhedrin has not convened in over 16 centuries. Elsewhere, a Messianic researcher overlays topographic scans with ancient texts. What emerges is staggering. From above, the eastern wall, the Mount of Olives, and the Gihon Spring align to form an isosceles triangle. At its apex, the Golden Gate. And embedded within that triangle, measurable only at sunrise on the spring equinox, is a perfect tetragram, the Hebrew name of Yahweh, drawn across the very bones of the city itself. New drone footage captures something strange around the Golden Gate. From above, the stones show fault line fractures, yet these are no natural cracks. They curve, bend, form circles. Each one measures the exact cubit radius of the Holy of Holies described in 1 Kings. Then the signal breaks. 11 seconds of static. When the feed resumes, the camera is no longer pointed at the ground. It's staring straight upward. frozen in a single frame, a perfect circular rainbow, its center aligned directly over the inscription. At that same moment, deep inside the Israeli Defense Ministry, seismic sensors detect an anomaly beneath the eastern wall. The earth itself isn't moving, but something beneath the mount is producing pulses. 6 beats. Silence. 6 more. Silence. A physicist compares the data to a cardiogram. Her report is only 1 line long. The mountain has a heartbeat. Days later, an unannounced group of priests and rabbis descend into the tunnels beneath Jerusalem. Their destination, the base of the eastern wall. 45 minutes in, their live feed cuts. When it flickers back, a final frame shows an object buried in the soil, a brass crown, broken in half, and faintly glowing in the dark. In Jordan, researchers run AI scans over a damaged Dead Sea Scroll fragment. Letters emerge, a message hidden for millennia. And when the gate is named and the name revealed, the sky shall open once more, and the watchers shall descend. 24 hours later, without warning, a meteor shower blazes across the night sky. No forecast, no explanation, no sound. Among the falling streaks, one burns brighter, longer. It arcs from the east, vanishes directly above the Temple Mount, and leaves behind nothing but smoke. When the haze clears, witnesses see it, a 5th letter, half-formed, curved, unlike any paleo script. Scholars scramble. Tel Aviv, Princeton, Damascus. They compare it to Babylonian cuneiform, Proto-Hebrew, even mystical Enochian alphabets. Nothing matches. Until one linguist recalls an ancient proto-symbol from Ugarit, used only by priests when writing of the unutterable. The glyph means, "He who has not yet arrived," and it appears only once in the ancient record, on a tablet describing a god returning through the Gate of Burning Silence. The Israeli Antiquities Authority dispatches a classified team back to the eastern wall. This time, LiDAR scans return something new. A perfect void, hidden 7 meters beneath the Golden Gate. A circular chamber, 4 cubits wide, sealed in basalt, no doors, no inscriptions, no way in. Yet inside, instruments detect a magnetic pulse. Every 12 hours, at the thin veil between moonrise and sunrise, the chamber emits a frequency of 1.618 Hz. The golden ratio, the fingerprint of nature itself. Word spreads quickly. The Vatican sends a private envoy, not a cardinal, but a Jesuit physicist. He arrives under diplomatic seal, carrying a locked case with a device developed at CERN. What they tested is never revealed, but 72 hours later, he departs in silence. One leaked line from his debrief escapes into the press. The gate is not locked, it's counting down. Far to the south in Mecca during the dawn prayer, something happens. Cameras capture the imam, faltering mid-verse, eyes fixed eastward toward Jerusalem. Hours later, the Saudi Observatory releases a quiet, unlisted report. The crescent moon appeared 4 degrees too high on the horizon. Every Qibla-aligned compass shifted slightly but undeniably toward the Temple Mount. Back in Jerusalem, seismic monitors now detect tremors not downward but upward, as though something beneath the wall is moving closer to the surface. A mystic from Safed, blind since birth, places his hands on the stone. He begins to shake, then weep. Asked what he felt, he whispers, "It is not a name anymore, it is a voice." Within 48 hours, 4 security guards resign from their posts at the eastern wall. One is hospitalized after insisting the letters were burning gold and breathing. Another uploads a trembling video before vanishing. They're not words, they're openings. In Haifa, AI researchers run deep mapping analysis on the wall. To their shock, the stone contains photonic echoes, light trapped for centuries like a fossil. When reconstructed, the images reveal a procession, figures in white robes walking toward the Golden Gate, carrying a box, gold and acacia wood. The timestamp embedded in the simulation is chilling, April 3rd, 33 AD, the very day many believe Jesus entered Jerusalem. Meanwhile, in Istanbul, scholars uncover a sealed Ottoman archive. A forgotten manuscript describes the gate of sealed fire and cites a lost Jewish sect's prophecy. When the name completes, the nations will tremble. The wall will not fall, it will open. The date of the document, October 1541. The same month, Sultan Suleiman ordered the eastern gate bricked shut. Washington, D.C. A Homeland Security satellite aimed at the Middle East registers an impossible flare. Infrared only, invisible to human eyes. The burst comes in 4 pulses, a pause, then a final strike of light. Not random, not natural. Scientists whisper one phrase: structured light. Encoded. On Mount Athos, Greece, a hermit monk is found carving into sheer rock. No radio, no television, no connection. Yet the symbol he chisels matches the new 5th letter surfacing on Jerusalem's wall. Perfect, line for line. Back in Jerusalem, a 6th letter erupts, not carved, not etched. The stone itself is splitting at the molecular level, fibers pushing outward, like something beneath is writing its way to the surface. For the first time in history, the divine name is no longer fixed. It's growing. In the cryovaults of Yad Avshalom, a sealed fragment is unveiled. Written by the ancient Zadokite priests, it speaks of a living name that appears only when heaven presses into stone. The scroll warns, when the 6th comes, the watchers descend. When the 7th appears, the veil breaks. Above the Temple Mount, satellites now register a pre-dawn heat bloom expanding daily. Its pattern matches the exact placements of mezuzot, doorway sanctifiers, scaled to the Golden Gate. Then, unannounced, a priest from Ethiopia's ark-guarding community arrives. He falls to his knees before the eastern wall and whispers only 4 words: "It's time, he's near." A rabbi standing nearby collapses, not from frailty, but at the instant the 7th letter begins to burn into existence. It is no script known to man, not Hebrew, not Paleo, not earthly. Infrared scans show it pulsing 3 times a minute, a rhythm outside of time. At its center glows a single dot. When magnified, the dot unfurls into a Fibonacci spiral, nature's fingerprint etched into eternity. Across the desert in Petra, restorers uncover a black obsidian slab. Carved into its face are 7 alien letters predating Christ. The final one, identical to Jerusalem's 7th, spirals inward the same way. Beneath, faint Aramaic lines whisper, "When the 7th speaks, silence ends." Now, the eastern wall itself has become a signal tower. Electromagnetic surges knock out drones at exactly 3:33 a.m. each night. Yet every lens records the same impossible flare. When analysts map its sequence against the horizon, the light spells one word in Hebrew: Ani, I am. Below the city, secret excavations cut deeper than ever before. The drills halt, not on Roman ash from 70 AD, but on a layer far older. Carbon dating places it at 3200 BC. Embedded in the soot is a single shard of stone fused with molten glass, split in the shape of an oval. When tested, the glass matches trinitite, material formed only at nuclear-level heat. Yet this is no weapons debris. Held to the light, the shard refracts into a single outline: a gate. Across the Atlantic, the James Webb Telescope registers an anomaly, a narrowband radio signal. 5 short bursts, 1 long, then silence. Converted to waveform, the signal blooms into the geometry of a menorah, 7 branches. Its origin, a cluster the Babylonians once called the Sea of Fire. Its target, Earth's eastern horizon. In Jerusalem, microseismographs beneath the wall begin to shudder. Not random tremors, but a vibration at precisely 528 Hz. The same frequency once detected at the Ark of the Covenant's last resting place. The resonance builds until dawn, then ceases the instant sunlight touches the 7th letter. The wall doesn't fracture, it exhales. In Poland, a Holocaust survivor exhales too, her last breath carrying one word: Yahweh. But the recording her daughter makes captures more. Beneath the frail whisper, another voice answers. Not echo, reply. a deep register speaking in ancient Hebrew. And still the wall transforms. Under polarized light, limestone blocks reveal veins of circuitry, glowing faintly with trace elements of orichalcum, Plato's lost metal never known on Earth. At the Knesset, lawmakers scatter when a hand-delivered document appears with no courier. A map, not of streets, but of stars. Constellations twisted into a spiral centered on the Golden Gate. In Rome, archivists uncover a hidden manuscript bound in dust behind a false panel. Dominus per murum, the Lord through the wall. It speaks of a name that will not be spoken but grown, etched by light, heralded by silence. One line bleeds in red ink. The gate will open, not to welcome, but to release. Just before dawn, ground-penetrating radar is deployed for one final scan. For a breathless second, the feed cuts to static, then flickers back. The wall is gone, not broken, not excavated, simply absent. As if stone itself was never stone at all, but veil. And when the radar completes, every technician falls silent, because behind where the gate should be stands a figure, motionless, facing outward, waiting.